He's 14 years old and is supposed to be the hero of this story. But oddly enough, he's dead.
I've turned into a ghost?
Yu Yu Hakusho is a new Netflix anime adaptation. We've just had One Piece.
So what do you say? Are you with me? Mutiny.
And now we've got another. Is it going to be as good as the anime? Are people going to understand it if you don't have the recollection or have never seen the anime? Can you remember it? Because it's an old anime for those who have seen it. Have you seen it recently?
It's humanity's last line of defense.
It's going to be a number of audiences that come into this with various different expectation. Let's jump in and talk about it. A delinquent teenager is killed and gets resurrected to serve as an investigator of the supernatural. So there's only 5 episodes and they range from about 40 minutes to about 45 minutes, and this entire season covers 60 episodes of the anime.
You are for the moment the spirit detective of Earth.
And so it's a lot of storyline crammed in there. There's a lot of storyline that where you're getting used to characters, and a lot happens in each episode. So we even have a sort of montage episode where a character has to learn to control their powers to be able to defeat the big bads that are way stronger than them. But even that would have consisted of 10 to 15 episodes. A lot of montaging, but all kind of squished down. Now, I didn't mind the pacing somewhat because it does spur on the movement of the story really quickly. But when it comes to the action sequences, I'm enjoying them, but I don't have the emotionality that I would have had if I was watching the anime, because they spend so much time with the characters. We get to know them. There's more stories. There's obviously some filler, so that actually takes away, is a plus in the case of the pacing of the series. But for the most part, I enjoyed the action sequences. I cared somewhat for the characters in this, but mostly I was just there for seeing an anime adaptation and what that looks like. And we're gonna get a lot of heavy CGI in this, and it's mostly good and sometimes great. A couple just don't look good at all. But for the most part, I would say 60% looks good, about 30% looks great, and 10% not awesome at all. So you have a bit of an amalgamation, and I can excuse the amount of CGI needed and the budget that they had. I think with what they had, they did an excellent job. And when it comes to mix matching wire work with CGI and practical effects with practical scene and sets, it all works really well to create a really high tension, exciting adventure of fight sequences that you probably haven't seen too much of, because what they've done is almost like a true adaptation of what you would get in the anime. There are sequences in the live action where you are literally looking at it as if you're watching anime. Now, I loved One Piece, but there were some moments in the One Piece that I was like, I really hope you embrace more of what you get in anime. And a lot of people would use the excuse, well, that doesn't translate.
I'll do you the kindness of killing you all together.
But here we're getting characters that look silly, characters that have the costumes, the weird hairstyles, the people sucking dummies. You'll understand when you watch this live action. So they've taken like all those kind of tried and tested things in the anime that people love, from set design, costume, voice work, character chores of characters, ridiculously strange looks, a weird yokai that they have to fight, and there is always the trope of the anime where this is not even my final form.
This isn't even my final form.
We get all of that showcased in this, and that's what I was here for. That's what I was enjoying. When we get to those fights and we're seeing anime displayed in live action, that's what I've been wanting for a long time. And it's so nice to see, with a bit of budget, decent acting, fun acting, not taking itself too seriously. Had we had another 3 episodes, I think this series could have even been in the great, even 10, to kind of mix that storylines, those more emotionality, the backgrounds for the characters that they kind of rushed into introducing too many main characters, and that's not really understanding what makes them tick apart from what they've deemed to gleam us.
gleaming the cue.
Or give us moments in their fighting sequences. So it's somewhat rushed, obviously, within the 5 episodes. But when it comes down to it, you know who the good guys are, you know who the bad guys are, and what you're seeing on screen is incredible action. There's like a heightened crescendo of 2 episodes where they're fighting insurmountable odds, and it looks like they have no chance at winning. And yet, you know somehow the good guys might stand a chance of winning if they work together. There's that whole team that they create, a bunch of people that wouldn't normally work together. Yokais are not all bad, yokais are not all good. There is good and bad on each side, and seeing those 2 worlds clash together, from the spirituality side of the yokai to the earth and the humans, and what binds them together or apart. That was an interesting part of the story. So although it's a very simple arc, what you get with inside is what you get with inside the anime, but they give us a little bit to work with, enough to be entertained for a 1 season. Now I really hope we get another season and they expand the story and the universe somewhat, but more people will have to watch it and say it's entertaining. So if you're a fan of this, definitely share it around. You know, share good reviews about it, not just mine but other reviews. Let people know about the show of the anime. If you want to see it renewed, you have to give Netflix incentives, because we know how many series and movies like of sequels that they cancel just on the outset because it hasn't got enough views, so it's not giving them enough money. For me, I really enjoyed this. Even though I've seen the anime, I still enjoyed this for what it was, although there were things I was hoping to see, but there were things on the live action that I was surprised to see. And so I'm gonna give this 3.5, almost 4, depending. Like if I'm just geeking out, I would say it's 4.
You got one. Congratulations.
But in terms of quality, I would say 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
So let me know what you thought about this. I would probably, like, if you asked me again tomorrow, I'll be thinking about those action sequences and go 4. But then if you asked me in like a month's time when I was thinking about how much they missed out on this, I would say 3.5. So, you know, stick that in your thought caps and let me know what you think about it when you've seen it. Who was your favorite character that you wanted to see more of? What fight sequence stood out to you? Was it gorier than you expected? There is quite a bit of gore. There's some CGI gore that I noticed, but mostly when you see the practical gore effects, they're pretty good. The monster designs of the yokai are fantastic. I thought really interesting. They're quirky fight sequences because they can use the verticality, because they're not human. They have superpowers. They have abilities from different weird shapes of their bodies, and that makes them interesting enough for you to go, oh, I wonder how they can survive this. So let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.